Hey guys, I'm Larissa and today I'm going to show you my Princess Ray speed paint. My husband and I are going to be celebrating our upcoming wedding anniversary while we're at Disney, so of course I have to be a little bit extra and make us matching his and hers celebratory t-shirts, because why not? And since of course my husband is involved in this, Star Wars is the obvious theme. So this is going to sort of be a two-part speed paint. In this episode, I'm going to be painting sort of myself as Rey dressed as a princess. Why not? It's Disney, I can do whatever I want. I basically know how I want her to be placed on the page, how I want her arms, etc. So I just need to lay this in kind of roughly. Since all of Disney's projects are slightly different, I don't have a specific one that I'm going for here, just something that's sort of vaguely reminiscent of Disney. I don't want it to be too realistic because all of their stuff is always a little bit of surreal, a little bit romanticized. But I also don't want it to be super exaggerated. I want it to be fairly believable and sort of anatomically correct. I also loved the idea of turning those somewhat ratty arm wrappings into some really nice, fancy sort of gloves. Again, feels very princessy while being definitely reminiscent of the original character. Another portion of my artistic license that I'm taking here is I sort of dropped her sashes slightly off the shoulder. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Belle's gown, but still definitely looks a lot like Rey's outfit. And as usual, when I am painting or drawing a person, I usually start with the flesh tone. I feel like that helps me get a really good idea of like the basic contrast levels that I'm going to need when I get into shading and tones of everything else. The original source material, of course, for this is her original sort of desert scavenger outfit, which honestly, not the prettiest, most interesting color palette to work with. Color-wise, there's not really a lot to play with here. I do want to make sure that I stay reminiscent to the original source material, which was all very neutral and kind of boring. So I'm keeping myself a lot of room for shading later, as well as the inking process to again make sure that I can really balance this out with its partner piece. Again, to tie into the princess element, I want to keep the color palette soft and dainty and delicate, even though I'm staying pretty true to the original source material. But since this piece isn't going to have any sort of a background, I don't want to be too light or it'll just sort of disappear on the page. It'll help a lot when I get to the inking portion, but I still don't want it to be too washed out and boring on its own. This is also only half of the project. The other half is going to be my husband's portion, which is going to be a lot darker and heavier visually, so I need to make sure that this isn't going to be completely lost next to that one. To help this balance out with its partner piece, I'm going to try and keep the lines that designate the folds in the skirt going a little bit higher up than maybe I normally would. I want to keep the art hand-drawn so that it'll have that sort of old-school Disney feel, but at the same time, I definitely want the final project to look very clean and crisp and professional, so I'm going to do a combination of sort of hand-rendered art with some digital aspects added in at the end. I'm also giving myself a little artistic license color-wise. Her original outfit, the sashes and the rest of the outfit were very similar in color. Plus her original outfit was all in shades of brown, but she's definitely been going into sort of a darker grayish sort of tone. So I'm going to kind of combine the two of those.
That'll give me a little more contrast, a little more visual interest, and also kind of tie in both of her looks.
For visual consistency, I'm going to use the same gray from her sashes as the base color for her blaster, but I definitely wanted to include it.
She's tough, but she's also a female.
I'm not doing a lot of really intense shading on this project. I need it to stay pretty graphic and quick and easy to read for my final project.
Now to shade the sashes, I'm going to take this same tone but just add a little bit more of this dark gray to it.
I like to do the details of the piece last, and I don't just mean like, eyelashes or whatnot, but like the less important things, in this case like this belt. I don't want to get the whole piece thrown off because I made the belt a little too light or a little too dark early on, and then have to go in and fix that later. So since the belt isn't really super important to the piece, I'm definitely not going to concentrate on that for now. I'm going to wait until I have the basic contrast of the entire piece a little more worked in, and then come back and work on something like that. Now I'm just going to go back in and add a few highlights here and there, but I don't want to get too crazy involved with my shading. I'm not going for a photorealistic image here. I'm keeping the line art fairly simple and graphic so that it'll make my life a little bit easier when I take it into the computer for the digital portions. I've done this sort of thing before for my Etsy store, taking an existing person and a different existing character and kind of combining them to make a little new caricature version of somebody. More often I'm doing a much more original character. I'm not usually so strongly basing my drawing off of a specific existing character. It's happened before, but typically It's much more brand new, full original character with maybe some inspiration off of another one, but this is strictly for my own personal use. I may end up digitally enhancing some of my line art to make them pop a little bit more, because I'm not going to have a lot of control over the printing process of my final product. I'm also making sure, like I said earlier, to carry these lines of the skirt way up towards the waist to get a little more black into the image, because I don't want it to be completely unbalanced from the sister one. And illustration number 1 is officially signed and complete. And there you have it, a nice simple illustration of myself as a princess version of Rey from Star Wars. It's a little simple right now, but I plan on adding a few more elements in the computer later before it ends up in its final version as a t-shirt. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications down below, and you'll see a future episode where I will do my husband's version. Wait till you see what I do for him. Totally gonna be awesome. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.